Welcome to Minds on Fire. Where ID was, their ego shall be. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. The ego is not master in its own house. The ego is not an entity, but a function. Everywhere I go, I find a poet has been there before me. Neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. Time spent with cats is never wasted. A man who has been the indisputable favorite of his mother keeps for life the feeling of a conqueror. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Illusions commend themselves to us because they save us pain and allow us to enjoy pleasure instead. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. One is very crazy when in love. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. A love that does not discriminate seems to me to forfeit a part of its own value by doing an injustice to its object. A woman should soften but not weaken a man. The ego is not willing to forego pleasure, and it is not capable of it. Love and work are the cornerstones of our humanness. Every normal person, in fact, is only normal on the average. The goal of all life is death. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. It is impossible to overlook the extent to which civilization is built upon a renunciation of instinct. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. What a distressing contrast there is between the radiant intelligence of the child and the feeble mentality of the average adult. Anatomy is destiny. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. The tendency to aggression is an innate, independent, instinctual disposition in man. Humanity's love for reality is not an enjoyment of pure unalloyed truth, but of truth as colored by our feelings. Religion is an illusion, and it derives its strength from the fact that it falls in with our instinctual desires. The more the fruits of knowledge become accessible to men, the more widespread is the decline of religious belief. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. A civilization which leaves so large a number of its participants unsatisfied and drives them into revolt neither has nor deserves the prospect of a lasting existence. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Love is an attempt to change a piece of a dream world into reality. The first human being who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. When one does not have what one wants, one must want what one has. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Men are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. The behavior of a human being in sexual matters is often a prototype for the whole of his other modes of reaction in life. Neurotics complain of their illness, but they make the most of it, and what is more significant, they do not want to be cured of it. The ego is not master in its own house. The doctor should be opaque to his patients and, like a mirror, should show them nothing but what is shown to him. The only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. The first requisite of civilization is that of justice. Analogies, it is true, decide nothing, but they can make one feel more at home. Civilization began the first time an angry person passed a word. Instead of a rock,